Walton said, radio voice of the Washington Capitals, the demons have been exorcised. What is up? This is the Bottom Line Podcast. I'm Jimmy Fedizzi alongside Neil Villapiano. We hope you're doing well. As always, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to listen to us. We really do appreciate it. Before we get started, questions, opinions, Twitter and Instagram at BottomLineWMCX and on Twitter at The NVP Show, hashtag BottomLine. Leave a voice message on Anchor, the app, or at Anchor.fm. Leave a like and a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube, and hit subscribe and also the notification bell so you don't miss a single episode. And please subscribe on all audio listening platforms as well. Just include Jimmy when searching for this podcast. Neil, they did it. They actually finished the job, and the memes are dead. They are dead. For the first time since 2004, the Tampa Bay Lightning are the Stanley Cup champions. And I mean, talk about a fitting series to end it on. I mean, we'll get into Dallas in a little bit because boy, oh boy, that they fight hard. And that team's not going away anytime soon. We'll get to them in a little bit and where they go from here. But it seems to me that Tampa, even though, you know, obviously they didn't win every game. You can't win every single game. But it seems to me that yeah, a couple of their games were close, but a couple of them, they were just the more dominant team. So it feels to me like they were dominant throughout half of these playoffs, which is something that we're not used to seeing, considering the fact, you know, they got swept by Columbus last year. They've choked the past 5+ years. It didn't seem like they were going to get over the hump anytime soon. It looked like they had nothing going for him. Everyone was like, oh, you're not going to win with that head coach, John Cooper. What the heck were you thinking? You should move up from this guy and that guy and this and blah, 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 blah. Well, all that is over because Tampa finally shut everybody up, including you and myself, and they have won the Stanley Cup. And I just have to say this, and I'll get it out of the way. I'm a Ranger fan. Ryan McDonough and Kevin Shattenkirk are Stanley Cup champions, and I think they absolutely deserve it. You know, Ryan McDonough obviously was on the team in 2014 when they made the final, when they still had no business playing the Kings, but I digress. But congratulations to everybody on the Tampa Bay Lightning and that entire organization. This is absolutely well-deserved. But here's the thing that surprised me the most. The Conn Smythe Trophy winner. Now, no disrespect, but Victor Hedman won it. Now, Victor Hedman played his ass off. I am not denying that whatsoever. He is an absolute workhorse for that defense for Tampa. And he might be one of the best defensemen we are seeing in today's game. But have you seen Braden Point? Have you seen the way that he has played all postseason long? I mean, if you really look at the numbers for both Hedman and Point, yeah, they're both, I mean, they're somewhat equal. Both worked equally as hard, but Point worked harder. Point worked harder, in my opinion. I think Braden Point should have won the Conn Smythe Trophy. But hey, good for Victor Hedman. No disrespect, but in my opinion, Braden Point should have gotten it more. But you know what? Tampa, you did it. I apologize. The memes are dead. We can finally shut the hell up. Unless for some ungodly reason you continue this choking pattern the next 5+ years. But hey, that remains to be seen. Who knows? But for now, Tampa Bay, congratulations. You finally earned your long-awaited championship for the first time since 2004 when John Tortorella was your head coach. Congratulations, Tampa Bay, bottom line, absolutely earned this Stanley Cup this year.
So when the Tampa Bay Lightning got to the Cup final back in 2015 against the Blackhawks, I think a lot of people expected them to be back in the Cup final several more times following that. And
yes,
unfortunately, what happens with teams that get there that early in, if you want to call it a rebuild or a retool, or just the window of opportunity to win a cup, expectation grows and grows and grows. And I think with every year that they weren't getting it done, whether they choked it away or not, the pressure was just mounting more and more. And last year, I think you can definitely say was the low point because you go in with such high expectations. Again, definitely projected to get to the Cup final, definitely being one of the favorites to go win it. and you lose in 4 straight games to a Columbus Blue Jackets.
And not to mention, you were the best team in the regular season, and what did that do you? You didn't even win a game in the postseason.
Right. And you were up 3-0 in the first period of the first game. So
exactly. So that pretty much set the tone right there for how that was going to go.
So going into this year, there was clearly going to have to be some changes. And what you saw was there were no changes really made throughout most of the regular season until they got to the trade deadline. And the 2 biggest moves that they made was acquiring Blake Coleman from the New Jersey Devils and acquiring Barclay Goodrow from the San Jose Sharks. They had to give up first-round picks for them. They gave up their own first-round pick to San Jose, and they gave up the first-round pick they got from the JT Miller trade from Vancouver to the Devils. So they knew that they were giving up a lot of their future for these guys to perform right away. And that third line of Barclay Goodrow, of Yanni Gourde, and Blake Coleman was one of the top 3 biggest reasons that the Lightning had this.
They were probably the best line the whole postseason.
Other than probably the first line of Tampa, they probably were the best line in the postseason. The most consistent. That's for damn sure. They were the most consistent. None of them missed a game since, once they became a line. They all played every single game, and they just had great chemistry. I mean, you saw it last night. Now, obviously, that was a combination of the third and fourth lines because it was Patrick Maroon to Paquette, who then found Blake Coleman for that second goal. But still, it was tremendous. And that line constantly is your energy line. They really give you a lot of energy. And that's why you saw John Cooper so many times put that third line out to start a game or start a period because he knew he could get the most energy from his team within the first minute or so with having that line out there. And it was really a good thing. Also, you have to look at the fact that Tampa went out and got Zach Bogosian, who had not even been in the playoffs until this year. Yep. And he got Patrick Maroon in the offseason, who had just won a Stanley Cup and became a hometown hero for the St. Louis Blues the year prior. What Tampa did differently than what they've done in the last handful of years is that they became a more well-rounded team. They were not going to be fazed by, adversity, and they were not going to let the ghosts of playoff past affect them. They were going to go out, they were going to dominate, and they were not going to allow teams to get comfortable. And I think if you look at every series they played, they never allowed another team to get comfortable. You can make an exception for the Islanders and also probably the Dallas Stars in the conference finals and then eventually the Stanley Cup finals. But really, other than that, I don't recall a single time where the Lightning were outshot by anybody. They constantly blitzed.
And by the way, I'm sorry to cut you off, Neil, but also Stamkos barely played. He's been hurt the whole postseason. So that just goes to show you that with or without your best player, and by the way, he is the captain. Steven Stamkos is the captain. So I guess the leadership was still there. He was obviously still there, but did they miss his presence on the ice? Of course they did. But it clearly didn't really show all that much because they showed you that they can overcome losing their best player to go out and shut everybody up like that.
Well, it just proves that this Lightning team had much more resilience than any team that they had before.
Right.
Now, did they have as much adversity to face like they did in 2004? No, but this was still a team that had a lot to prove. And watching them go all the way and win the cup, for some, it's not that much of a surprise because, let's face it, they were one of the favorites going into this. They were absolutely one of the favorites to go all the way to the cup final. And that's what happened. And it's something where my feeling towards it is it's about damn time that they got this done, that they didn't, that they finally got it all together and clicked all together. And, it is funny that it took a freaking global pandemic and with having no fans and playing in a completely different country for them to actually do it. But nonetheless, they did it. And that's the important thing. That's the thing we have to remember. I'm not going to apologize for crapping on the Lightning or picking against them because I would have rather picked against them and them actually go and do it than for me to believe that they could actually do it and then they falter. Right. So I'm not going to apologize for it. I don't think a lot of people should apologize for it because you know what? They deserve to be called out like that. I think that had they lost last night, and we talked about this yesterday, I think if they had lost last night, nobody would have picked them for tomorrow's potential.
If they would have lost last night, Dallas would have had all the momentum going in Game 7, and they probably would have had a better chance to win it all.
And all you have to do if you're a betting man, all you had to do was look at the history and just realize that, you know what, this is the same group of guys that have been choking year in and year out. There's no reason why I should pick them now. But I knew that Tampa was going to win last night because after playing back-to-back games and finding a way to take a 3-1 lead after winning Game 4, you knew that they were going to be tired. You knew that they were going to be kind of energized from the game before and everything. And I think they just kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit, and they allowed Dallas to win. But what was good is that they got a day off, 2 days before on Sunday. They were able to relax, regroup, and say, hey, look, we still have 2 more shots to win this thing. We still have it. We're still in the driver's seat. And that's how they played last night. They didn't have to score 4, 5, 6, 8 goals. They didn't have to do that. They just got goals at timely times that got them some momentum, and their defense locked it down. And you're talking about one of the oldest defensive groups in the National Hockey League. I mean, Victor Hedman's not that young. Not Shattenkirk is not very young.
No.
Ryan McDonough's not very young. I mean, Mikhail Sergachev is your youngest defenseman. And there's a good chance he might not be on the team next year. Because I think that's something that we have to remember is that the Lightning are in cap hell. They really are. If they didn't win the cup this year, they would have had to dismantle the team even more probably than what they did, even more than what they probably will have to do. I would expect within the next couple of days, especially because the NHL draft is coming up in just about a week.
October 6th, yep.
You're going to see them make a lot of moves to clear some cap. And I think the Lightning are okay with that now. They're okay with that because guess what? They got the job done. They won the cup. That's all they got to do. That's all they had to do. If they didn't win the cup, it would have been a lot worse. It would have looked a lot worse for them. But talking about this Lightning team, they proved that they were the best team going into this, and they deserve to win the cup. And that's the way I look at it. Now, speaking from, you mentioned the fact that Stamkos didn't play all year. I'm actually glad he didn't play, and I'm sure he's glad too, because honestly, Stamkos for many years had to carry a Lightning team that at times didn't have the talent around him. Go back to 2011. The Lightning were on a Cinderella run to the conference finals where their goaltender was Brian Rolson, who was, I think, approaching his 40s.
Yep.
Think about that.
I remember that.
Victor Hedman was I think he was on the team. I think he was only in his second year in his second year in the NHL. And Steven Stamkos was already one of the top players in the NHL. That series, I think it did end up going 7, if my memory is correct. So the Lightning had a chance even in 2011 to go to the Cup final. Would they have beaten the Vancouver Canucks? I mean, anybody would have beaten the Vancouver Canucks considering the fact that they were the original Tampa Bay Lightning. Choking when it matters most. But I digress. But Steven Stamkos is one of the forgotten stars of the NHL. People tend to forget that he's even still playing because he plays in Tampa. Now that he's won a Stanley Cup, he should be considered one of the best in the league. And I know he was hurt. I get that. And I understand that. But you know what? It's about time that the Tampa Bay Lightning carried him as opposed to him having to carry the Tampa Bay Lightning.
And he's only 30. He's only 30 years old. So he's still relatively young. I mean, he's pretty much in the prime of his career. He just needs to stay healthy. That's pretty much all there is to it.
I would say that he's in the middle of the prime of his career. I usually say it's between the ages of 26 and about 31, 32. So he's approaching a little bit more the end of it and more towards the twilight of his career. I don't know what the Tampa Bay Lightning want to do with him. I have heard speculation that they may try to move him. They may just, who knows? The injury, problems is definitely something to keep your eye on. Do I think that the Lightning will move on from Stamkos? If they do, it'll probably be later on in his career. But other than that, I think he'll probably remain in Tampa the rest of his career. Do I think the Lightning will be as good as they were this year? Probably not, because like I mentioned before, they're going to have to move some guys. Mikhail Sergachev, I think most likely won't be on this team after this year. Who knows what's going to happen with Braden Point? We don't even. Andre Palat, we don't know. And even some of the older veterans that they have, we don't know if they're going to be back. So this team might look a lot different going into the 2021 season. I don't know what to expect, but I do expect moves to be made. But nonetheless, the Lightning came into this bubble knowing that they had to go win the cup. Because whether or not they won it or not, changes were coming. And they would much rather make those changes knowing that their fans can relax and say, at least we won a cup. That's the way I look at it. And they're going to try to do it in a different way than what Washington has done, where they're trying to hold on for as long as possible with the core that they have. I think the smartest thing for them is to move the guys that have taken up the most cap, and you gotta kind of regroup a little bit with regards to getting some draft capital, because you don't have a lot. I mean, you don't even have your first round pick. You do have to try to restock there. I will also say this. A lot of the credit for Tampa winning this cup belongs to Steve Yzerman. Steve Yzerman built this team. Really, I don't even know who the general manager is of the Lightning anymore, but whoever built whoever's the GM now, he didn't really make a lot of moves. Yeah, he acquired Barclay Goodrow and Blake Coleman and signed, Patrick Maroon and Zach Bogosian. Like, he brought in those guys, but the core guys, the guys who stepped up, Brayden Point, Victor Hedman, Nikita Kucherov, Andre Palat, Vasilevsky, all of those guys were drafted and developed by Steve Yzerman before he left to go take over as the GM of the Red Wings. And all of this could have happened with Detroit if they had let Steve Yzerman become the GM the first time. But obviously, hindsight is 2020. But if you want to put someone's name on the cup that's not there, that's not on the team anymore,
Steve Yzerman belongs there.
Steve Yzerman's name on there because he deserves it, because he built that team. Steve Yzerman was probably watching last night and has a big smile on his face because he knows he built that team. Red Wings fans should have a big smile on their face because they should realize, you know what? Steve Yzerman is a smart SOB. He knows he knows how to build a team, and you got to give him time. He's only going into his second year as the general manager of the Red Wings. You got to give him time. If he can build back up the original 6 very popular Detroit Red Wings into a Stanley Cup contender again, it's going to be huge for that city.
Absolutely, yes.
Talking about the Conn Smythe, because you brought it up, I can get why people wanted, why they chose Victor Hedman. Actually, fun fact, Victor Hedman is the first defenseman since 2014-15 to win the Conn Smythe. That was Duncan Keith. The other defenseman to win the Conn Smythe, because there isn't that many, is Duncan Keith, Scott Niedermayer when he was with the Anaheim Ducks. You have Nick Lidstrom, who was with the Red Wings in 01-02. And in 1999-2000, Scott Stevens of the New Jersey Devils. So there's only 5. So Victor Hedman became just the 5th defenseman in NHL history to win the Conn Smythe. I think that was part of it. I know people might say that, it's not, but it's part of it. And you got to say it. I mean, you look at Victor Hedman, he played in all 25 games, did not miss a single game the entire postseason, 10 goals, 12 assists. 10 goals as a defenseman. 10 goals. That's really impressive.
Yeah, it is.
Fact, 10 goals, 12 assists, 22 points, and he had a 13 plus minus rating. I mean, that's really, really, really impressive. Now, with Brayden Point, there isn't much to say here. He missed 2 games, and the 2 games that he missed, they lost, which kind of tells you a lot.
Yeah.
14 goals, 19 assists, 33 points. That was incredible. From a guy who was drafted in the middle of the 3rd round, and people thought that he couldn't play in the NHL because of his size. But Brayden Point is the definition of, if you put a guy in the right system with the right coach, he is going to do wonders. And that's what John Cooper has done with developing Brayden Point. And you saw that first line of Point, Kucherov, and Palat. They were game in and game out the most dominant line I had seen in the NHL.
Absolutely.
I mean, we talked about the perfection line, the perfection line with Marchand, Bergeron, and Pasternak with the Boston Bruins. This was the, invincible line, in my opinion. I'm going to call it the invincible line. The fact that all 3 of these guys had 20, I think something like 20 plus points in the playoffs. Now, Palat, was definitely the, if you want to call it, the weaker of the 3 guys in that line, but he still performed admirably. He was still very, very good. And I don't think people talked about him enough because he was overshadowed by the amount of talent that he was surrounded with Point and Kucherov.
I was just going to bring that up because you look at the past great lines in the NHL. You look at the punch line, the production line, the goal a game line. You can go all over the place to find the best lines in the NHL. That Tampa line might be one of the best ones we've seen in a long time.
Well, yeah, I mean it's incredible the amount of points that they were put up, and what was interesting about Nikita Kucherov is that he did have big time goals and big time plays in the postseason, but also he didn't really have to carry the load either, because I think a lot of people expected going into it, knowing that Stamkos was out, was that it was going to have to be Victor Hedman and Nikita Kucherov that were going to have to carry the team. People knew Braden Point was good, but this is that coming out party where Braden Point is starting to become one of the top players in the National Hockey League.
Absolutely.
And if he keeps this up, like going forward, he's honestly going to be top 3 for a very long time, because he's still I think he's only 22 years of age. So This kid still has a long, long productive career left in the NHL, and he already won his first Stanley Cup. Now, does that mean that's going to be the only Stanley Cup he ever wins? Possibly, because you never know if you're going to get back. That's why you try to win it regardless of the situation you're in. You want to try to win it right then and there, because that might be the only time. I mean, look, if you were on the Tampa Bay Lightning in 2004, I'm sure you weren't thinking that was going to be the only time you were going to get there.
Right.
I'm sure Martin St. Louis or Vincent Lecavalier, I don't think you thought that you were going to never get back to that point.
Or Ruslan Fedotenko.
Right, and Fedotenko. They never got back. They never did. And I'm sure that was the message with Tampa in this when they got to the final, that, look, this might be the last time that we're all really together, because we know changes are coming, and we might never get back here. So let's while we're here, let's just go and win it. And that's what they did. Now, Frank Cervalli said this last night about the Conn Smythe voting that I wanted to share with you.
Go ahead.
This year's Conn Smythe Trophy vote was the closest of all time. Winner was Victor Hedman, 9-8-1. Those were the votes. At Braden Point, 8-8-2 followed.
Ooh,
so
wow.
Braden Point missed out on the Conn Smythe by a single vote. Wow. By a single vote. I don't know what would have happened if they tied. I don't know how that would have worked. I don't know if they would have given it to 2 guys. But I think
I don't think that's ever happened, has it?
No, it has never happened.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think that Braden Point lost the Conn Smythe because Victor Hedman outplayed him. I think the reality is that the statistic that I mentioned before, prior to last night, only 4 defensemen have ever won the Conn Smythe. Also, right. Victor Hedman was technically the captain because Steven Stamkos was out. He was the alternate captain, and Victor Hedman is a Norris Trophy winning defenseman, and he put up 10 goals in the postseason as a defenseman. That doesn't really happen that often.
No.
Now, I could see Victor Hedman scoring 15, 16, between 15 and 20 goals as a defenseman in the regular season, but in the playoffs to have that much production is phenomenal. And he had a good balance of goals and assists, and he was on the ice 99.9% of the time when they needed a big goal. Look, he sent the Tampa Bay Lightning to the conference finals by him scoring a game-winning goal in Game 5 against Boston. So this guy had to step up. He had to carry the load and be the main leader of this team, and that's what he did. So that's why I'm sure when they were voting for Conn Smythe, it was a very tough decision, because point-wise, it was Braden Point. I mean, that he lived up to his last name. He became a point per game player, or a multiple point game per player.
Yep.
Shoot, he scored the game-winning goal last night.
Yep, he did.
He scored the game-winning goal off his own rebound. He took a shot, Hudobin made the save, and he just skated right through 2 defenders, picked up his own rebound, and scored. I mean, that's how good and lethal he really is.
Yep. And then your guy, Blake Coleman, former Devil, got the insurance goal.
Exactly.
That ultimately sealed the deal.
But the main point is that Braden Point won them that game.
Yep. No, he did.
Dallas
Absolutely.
Didn't score. Dallas didn't score. Braden Point, for I think the 7th or 8th time in this playoff, scored the game-winning goal. And remember, he scored 2 huge playoff overtime goals in the same series in round 1. Remember that 5 overtime game?
Yep, that was
Braden
him.
Point scored the game winner. Remember the Game 5 overtime winner to send Tampa to the second round?
Also him.
It was Braden Point. So you look at that. And then you look at the fact, like I mentioned before, Braden Point missed out on just 2 games in the playoffs. Did they win either one of those games? No.
Nope.
That shows you how important Braden Point is to that team and how valuable he is. I'm not crapping on Victor Hedman because he deserved it just as much because he played that well.
Absolutely.
I think Vasilevsky deserved it to an extent because people weren't talking about him. But I think because of how really, a great job the defense of the Lightning were when it came to blocking shots, that was probably it.
Yeah.
But Braden Point deserved it. Could he have gotten, could they have just gotten a tie and given it to both of them? Sure. We've never seen that before, and it's 2020. We haven't seen a lot of things in the history of the human race, until this year. So we might as well just keep it going. We might, we're in a bubble. Why not? Let's just keep it going. But, it doesn't bug me either way. I did tweet out last night, though, that I felt that if Braden Point didn't win the Conn Smythe, that it would have been a slap in the face. And I mean, it is in a way. I don't know if Braden Point is that conceited. I don't know the man personally, but I'm sure there's a little bit of him that's like, I kind of wish I had won that, but
right.
It is what it is. But the bottom line is that good job by the Lightning. That's what I'm going to say. Good job. You didn't screw it up. You won. You did what we all wanted you to do. Like, you don't understand. Everybody in the NHL wanted the Lightning to win a cup.
Yep.
So that we could just put that to bed and we could keep moving on. Yeah, the memes are great and everything, but after a while it gets annoying. It gets really annoying to see the same team get there and not live up to their expectation. Now we can move on. Now we can crap on other teams like the Nashville Predators and the San Jose Sharks and other teams like that haven't won anything yet, right? And constantly choked in the playoffs. Now we can focus on them. The Tampa Bay Lightning, they could not win another cup for another 50 years, right? Doesn't matter. They got done when you needed to get done. Are the memes still going to be there? Yeah, but, it's not as funny because they did actually win the cup. Right. So that's the way I look at it. And you mentioned, you're a Rangers fan, and you mentioned the guys who were on the Rangers that were on the Lightning. And I'm the same boat as Devils fan. We had Blake Coleman and Patrick Maroon, and that's all. Oh, and Scott Wedgwood as well. Scott Wedgwood, who didn't play a single freaking game in the playoffs, which, is fine because they didn't need him to play.
And now he's a Stanley Cup champion.
Now he's a Stanley Cup champion. So, I mean, it's like that. I don't know if Louis Domingue also gets it because he was on the Lightning. I don't think he fit the I don't even know what the rules are with that. I think it's like you have to play like
your guess is as good as mine.
You have to play like 60 games or 1 game in the playoff to get your name on the cup. Like, I don't know. But nonetheless, job well done by the Tampa Bay Lightning. Good job by John Cooper. But now reality is going to be setting in the next 48 hours because everybody else is moving on to next year. Both the Devils and Rangers have moved on to have already been off into next year. We're about a week away from the NHL draft and the start of free agency. Everybody's moving along. Mm-hmm. But the Lightning, they're going to celebrate. I did hear that they're going to actually have they're going to ride down on boats in Tampa Bay. So that's kind of cool.
I heard that too. That's awesome.
I hope that people actually can go. If they can, that's awesome. If they can't, I mean, it's fine. But good job by the Tampa Bay Lightning. They were the best team going into the postseason, and they proved it. And the best team won. There's no asterisk next to their name, and that's the way it looks.
Nor should there be an asterisk. That was a job.
No matter who won the cup.
Exactly. No asterisk on this championship. That was a job well done. Congratulations again to Tampa Bay. And real quick here, what a season though for the Dallas Stars. I mean, I know we've talked about it a lot, and we'll reiterate this. For a team that didn't even look like they wanted to be here, and it looked like they were going to get knocked out early in the round robin.
Yeah.
To have them go all the way to the final and just surprise everybody. Like, if you would have told me the Dallas Stars would have made the final, I would have laughed in your face because I would have said, after the way they performed in the round robin, come on now, you got to be smoking something, right? But hey, you know what? I gotta tip my cap to Dallas. I mean, what an unbelievable season. Yeah, they lost, but you know what? This team is going to be competitive for many, many years. So I am not I am not sleeping on Dallas one bit. Their defense is young. They're probably still going to keep the core guys. They're probably going to keep Corey Perry. They're probably going to keep Sagan. They're probably going to keep Jamie Benn for at least one more year. And they're going to be hungry to get back to the final next year. So bottom line, I am not sleeping on the Dallas Stars next season or for many, many years to come. They are going to be a team to watch out for in my eyes.
This was a really interesting season for the Dallas Stars because if you remember the year before, they were one goal away from going to the conference finals last year when they got knocked out by St. Louis. So we all knew that Dallas was kind of on the rise and definitely could, make a run at it. And then they kind of got off to a slow start this year. And then around December timeframe, I think 2 weeks before the Winter Classic, when they played Nashville, Jim Montgomery, the original head coach, got fired. And we later found out why. We're not going to get into that. But Rick Bowness, who has been in the NHL for about, I think, 4 or 5 decades at this point. He'd been around for a long time, took over, and the Stars got a little bit better, but they still were not really where I think everybody expected them to be. And then you get into the bubble, and you just basically forgot how to score. And I don't know how they won one game in the round robin when they played St. Louis, of all teams. It just didn't seem like that Dallas, had any business, like you mentioned, had any business being in the postseason. And when they played Calgary, I was like, Calgary's going to win this in 5 or 6. Unless the Stars can get their offense rolling, I don't see it. And I brought that up before. And we were talking about, is Ben Bishop going to stay healthy? Well, guess what?
He didn't.
Once again, the man couldn't stay healthy. And they had to bring in Anton Khudobin, who is a fan favorite, not just with the Stars, but with NHL people, fans in general. Everybody loves Anton Khudobin.
And he played lights out.
And, first of all, I don't think anybody expected him to play the way that he did.
No.
And for them to beat up on Calgary, first of all, shows that Calgary, once again, choked in the playoffs in the first round, which I know changes are going to have to be made in Calgary. I mean, I don't know what those changes are, but they got to do something to change the direction of this core. And in the clinching game, you're down 3-0 in the first period. Actually, no, excuse me. You had a 3-0. No, you were down 3-0. And then you score 7 unanswered goals. And it wasn't Sagan. It wasn't Jamie Benn. It wasn't Radulov. It was guys like Joe Pavelski. You had Corey Perry. You had Andrew Cogliano, who I didn't realize was basically the NHL's Iron Man until he missed out on one game. I think he played something like 300 games in a row. It was something ridiculous. But Gurianov, Miro Heiskanen, John Klingberg. I mean, you had all these guys. And then they go and play Colorado, which, again, everybody expected them to get knocked out. Dallas takes a 3-1 lead, proceeds to blow the next 2 games. And I did think that they were going to lose Game 7. But if it wasn't for Yoel Kiviranta, who nobody had any idea who he was, a guy who scored 1 goal all season against the Devils of all teams.
And he gets a hat trick.
Gets a hat trick and scores the game winner in overtime to send Dallas to the conference finals. And then they go and play Vegas, who, again, everybody, like Tampa, expected to be in the Stanley Cup finals. And the Stars basically kicked their ass. Now, shots-wise, they didn't kick their ass because Dallas was outshot virtually every game they played in the postseason. But the one thing that kept the Dallas Stars from getting knocked out sooner than they did was because their defense and their goaltending. They locked it down.
Absolutely.
And you're talking about a defense that was leading the NHL, the Stanley Cup playoffs, in points. I mean, this was a defensive core that basically acted like 3 or 4 extra forwards. It felt like at times they weren't even playing with any defensemen, that they just had 5 forwards on the ice all the time because the amount of times that they brought them up in the play. How many times have we seen Miro Heiskanen take the puck from behind his own net and basically just carry it all the way over to the other side like he was a forward? He did it time and time again.
Too many times, yep.
He did it way too many times, and it worked out. Their system, they did it so well. And then they go and they knock out Vegas in 5 games, and they're in the Cup final. And then they win Game 1. And already I'm thinking, they're going to win this series in 5 because they just have so much juju going. When you have the juju going in the playoffs, there isn't much the other team can do. But because the Lightning had so much resilience that they weren't going to be fazed by anything this time, they relaxed, they locked it down, and they were able to take it 3-1 lead. And yeah, they had chances to win in Game 5, and they didn't. The Stars, and particularly guys like Joe Pavelski and Corey Perry, stepped up. And talking about Joe Pavelski, the former San Jose Shark, he comes to Dallas not because he wanted, like he didn't originally want to go to Dallas because he wanted to stay in San Jose. I don't blame him, but the money wasn't there because the Sharks gave Erik Karlsson all that money. So Pavelski had to go somewhere else. He chose Dallas over Tampa because Tampa was the other team looking at him because Joe Pavelski liked the system. I'm not going to blame Pavelski for doing that because guess what? It worked for him.
Yep.
It worked for him, where he became, honestly, the most consistent goal scorer on the team. I think if the Stars had come back and won that series, I think the Conn Smythe would have been given to Joe Pavelski.
Absolutely.
That's my opinion.
Absolutely.
That's my opinion on that. Because he was
I 100% agree. He probably had his best postseason to date.
Watching the San Jose Sharks for a handful of years and seeing Joe Pavelski go, I would have said last year was his best playoff year, considering the amount of clutch goals he scored despite being hurt. But this year is where he wasn't hurt, fully healthy, fully focused, and this is where he kind of really took his game to another level where he could put himself in the spotlight because he was surrounded by great talent in San Jose all the time. And he was still considered a great player, but maybe not at the level that he is now. Now that he did what he did, and now he's the greatest scorer for any American in Stanley Cup playoff history, beating a guy like Mike freaking Modano, who everybody for a long time has said was the greatest American-born player. I mean, Joe Pavelski's making a really good case.
Absolutely,
I know you got guys you got a guy like Patrick Kane and possibly in the future Austin Matthews, but Joe Pavelski is right there.
And Pavelski's the guy that's probably going to absolutely waltz into the Hall of Fame when his career is over.
There is no question about it. There is absolutely no question about it in my mind that Pavelski is a Hall of Famer. Whether he wins a cup or not, Pavelski is a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
But it was not meant to be for the Dallas Stars. They finished 2 games shy of winning a cup, which would have been awesome. But bottom line is that they did a great. They deserved to be there. They played their ass off. They played playoff hockey. And even if they won the cup, I wouldn't have given them an asterisk. I would have said they won it fair and square. They were the best team in the playoffs, and that's that. People want to say, oh, did Rick Bowness lose his job in the last 5 minutes of Game 6? No, because look, it didn't matter. The Lightning were not going to be denied. That was just how it's going to work. They were not going to be denied, and that's what you saw. So the Dallas Stars need to keep their heads up high. They're going to be back. They have a young core of young defensemen. Tyler Seguin, who played pretty much the entire playoffs injured from what we heard, he's still a very good player. Hopefully he can be a lot healthier the next time they get into the postseason. Jamie Benn, Alexander Radulov, they have a lot of their pieces still there. So they're going to be back. And Rick Bowness now will most likely be the head coach of this team. And they're gonna go into next year with a lot of unfinished business, and we'll see. It's gonna be good, but you got to give you got to tip your cowboy hat, I guess if you want to say, to the Dallas Stars for really doing a tremendous job of making that run. They really deserved it, and it would have been nice to see them force a Game 7, but sometimes in playoff hockey we don't always get what we want.
Yeah. Absolutely. But hey, at least one team in Dallas is making Dallas fans happy. But I digress. Bottom line, definitely watch out for the Dallas Stars.
Texas, forget just Dallas.
Yeah,
I know the Longhorns are in the top 10.
Right.
But this season doesn't count.
No.
I don't know if I think the Big 12 is doing 12 games. I could be.
I think so, yeah.
Who cares?
But
who cares? College football this year doesn't exist, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know anymore. But bottom line is just don't sleep on the Dallas Stars for any time soon. They're definitely a team on the rise.
Can I just say one last thing?
Sure.
From the start of this bubble, which I think was July 30th.
I thought it was earlier in July, right?
Or whatever it was. The start until last night, there was not a single positive test for COVID-19. Not a single one that we know of. I mean, that was reported. That is a hell of a job by the National Hockey League. I mean, they showcased and they proved that if you do it this way, it can work. That's why Major League Baseball is doing what it's doing with the playoff format.
Yep.
That's why they're doing it. NBA got off to a rocky start, but over the last month, they're doing a great job.
They've done a great job too.
Because these guys understand that they need to focus on just winning. That's what they're there for. They're there to win a championship, and that's what we got. So the fact that the NHL from start to finish did not have a single positive test shows you how great of a job they did in handling the situation. A really good job by Toronto, Edmonton, and the entire country of Canada for really, locking it down. I don't think that the NHL will do a bubble going into next year. Most likely they're going to start next season in January, so they'll have a good amount of time between now and, when next season is supposed to start.
Right.
But a job well done by the NHL for doing that. A really, really good job. And I'm very proud as a diehard hockey fan. I'm very proud to be a fan of a league that did just a tremendous job of not allowing COVID-19 to interfere with the NHL being, successful. I do also want to give them credit for them standing up for social justice and the Black Lives Matter movement. I think they could have done a lot more. But for them to at least acknowledge it and to do almost whatever they could to make a difference, even if people aren't paying attention to hockey, and obviously hockey being a predominantly white sport, I want to give them a congratulations on that as well, because I think they did. But the job's not done with that. The job's not done. You got a long way to go. We have the Hockey Diversity Alliance, which is great. We have a lot of other things, but we got to continue to do more if we really, really want to get change going. Also, and I'll just say this real quick, everybody who's listening and watching, please go vote. Like, I'm dead serious. If you're in the United States, obviously. If you're listening from another country, it might be different, but I would still say vote. Right. If voting is a thing in your country, and I'm not criticizing anybody, but if voting is a thing in your country, please go do so.
Absolutely.
Your voice really does matter.
Yep.
Your voice really does matter in many regards, not just in the presidency, right? But in so many other, because look, we're not just voting for the president this year. We're voting for so many different other things as well.
Right.
So make sure that your voice is heard. Make sure that because it does matter. It does matter. And let's continue to promote these things so that we can start to create real change to make this world a better place, because that's what we're trying to do at the end of the day.
Yep, absolutely. And again, Neil and I reiterated this already. We do not care who you vote for. We don't care. As long as you
vote for Beelzebub, and it doesn't matter to us. That's what you vote for. That's
true.
You could vote for Al Gore even if he's not running anymore.
Oh my God.
You could just do that. I don't care. Go ahead, do it. Do it.
But yeah,
go and vote, man.
That's the bottom line. Just vote. We don't care who it's for. As long as you do it, that's what's important. But yes, you are 100% right. A job well done by the National Hockey League and what they were able to do to contain COVID-19 and with everything else. A job well done. I definitely.
Also, this makes me want to go to Canada
I gave them
more.
a standing ovation last night. That's how good of a job they did.
I also want to go to Canada more just because of what they did.
Oh,
because clearly they're doing something right.
Actually, you want to know what's funny?
I know that Ottawa got a crap load of positive cases yesterday. So, be careful with that, guys. Like, remember, this is a collective effort in the entire world to try to get this under control. So let's just, I'm not saying we're doing any better, because we're not, as in the United States, but let's all just keep moving forward here. We're getting better. Yeah. We're getting better. We're into the fall, in theory. We are in the fall area. I mean, I can't tell with this stupid weather. But, look, we're in the fall. You don't really have many excuses to go out and frolic, all right? Especially because it's cold as a mofo outside. It's not right now, but maybe.
Well, not right now, but it will be soon.
But please do so. Just continue to be safe, because we're trying to get shit done. All right, man, come on.
No, you're right. And the funny thing is, my sister was actually in Canada before the pandemic hit, back in February, because she's in the course for her school, and they were doing like a little bit of a tour around. They went to Toronto, they went to Montreal, so those are definitely two places on my bucket list that I want to go to. But at the end of the day, bottom line is job well done by the NHL. Congratulations to the Tampa Bay Lightning, and a job well done by the Dallas Stars. Do not sleep on that team anytime soon. They're going to be competitive for many years. So now to wrap things up here, let's talk a little bit about the NBA Finals. We have our matchup, the Los Angeles Lakers and the Miami Heat. Now, just real quick, I'll say this. The Miami Heat have been the surprise team all season long. I think maybe a rare few people said that they had a chance, but I don't think a majority of America thought the Miami Heat were going to make it this far. Yeah, they had Jimmy Butler, who's having a phenomenal season. But when you look at the rest of their roster here, Tyler Hero, who probably had one of his best games. What was that game where he just absolutely went off? Was it the last game against Boston, or was it the game before?
It was game 4.
It was game 4. Okay.
Hold on. What they win in 5, right?
Yeah, it was in 5, yes.
No, they won in 6.
No, 6.
It was 6, so it was game 4.
It was game 4, okay.
It's game 4 because I think in game 5 he dropped like 8 points.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, and by the way, Paul Pierce, I think it's safe to say now that Tyler Hero is a really good-ass player.
Yes,
because he's averaging 20-plus a game.
Yes.
So, once again, for like the 300th time, your take is pathetic. I don't know why ESPN continues to have you on when all you do is make Skip Bayless-like takes and continue to look like a fool.
Yeah. Look, Paul Pierce, great NBA player, but as far as an analyst...
Great NBA player? I wouldn't even say that. He was a solid NBA player. He didn't win anything till Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen got there.
True.
So I don't want to hear great.
Look,
Ray Allen is just a salty NBA player who wishes he had won more rings, but couldn't because he wasn't as good as LeBron James and Kobe Bryant and those guys. He's just salty.
Oh, that's true. But anyway, we digress.
And also, we have to remember, who did the Heat beat? Oh, his Boston Celtics.
Oh, yeah, final. That's true.
So, of course, he was going to say nothing.
Exactly. But
anyway, good.
Anyway, we digress. But you look at the rest of the Heat roster. You have Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, Duncan Robinson, Goran Dragic, Andre Iguodala is there, Jay Crowder. I mean, for the roster like that, you really didn't expect much from Miami. But hey, the fact that they got all the way to where they are now in the NBA Finals, and I'll be honest, they're going to give the Lakers a challenge here. The way they've been playing all year, I wouldn't be surprised if this series goes 7. As a matter of fact, I actually think this series has 7 games written all over it. I mean, who's slowing down the duo of LeBron and Anthony Davis right now? Probably nobody right now, and it's going to be a real tough challenge for the Miami Heat because the Lakers are no joke. They've been one of the best teams in the NBA all year, but Miami has been a big surprise. I got to tip my cap to them. What a job by them. But as who I think is going to win, I definitely think this series has 7 games written all over it. 7 games. I still like the Lakers, man. I still like the Lakers to win it all. I'm sorry. No disrespect to Miami. And hey, you know what? If they somehow win the championship, considering the fact the way they played, I will not be surprised at all if the Miami Heat win the championship. But I still think the Lakers are a better team all around. I mean, the Miami Heat have Jimmy Butler, but it's mainly just been him. I mean, yeah, the supporting cast is solid, but he's their best player.
Oh,
he really is. I mean, that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. But again, I know little to nothing about basketball, so don't come to me for any basketball knowledge. But anyway, bottom line, I like the Lakers in 7. Lakers are winning the championship.
Well, I mean, there isn't much that I can kind of like add to that, add to anything when it comes to...
and by the way, I forgot to mention, sorry, Neil, game 1 is tomorrow night, September 30th, 9 p.m. on ABC. 9 p.m. Eastern time, by the way.
Yeah, got to get those West Coast fans a chance to get home before the game starts. Anyway, You know, no,
That's true.
no
That's true.
no sensitivity to East Coast people, but that's okay, especially because the damn series is being played on the East Coast in Florida.
Mm.
But anyway, this is going to be a very, very interesting series. It's going to be entertaining regardless because both of these teams deserve to be here. Look, the Lakers were expected to be here, so, you know, there isn't much to say there. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and you know, just a bunch of role players.
You know what though, Neil? You know what? I still gotta give Denver a whole lot of credit. Denver is not going anywhere anytime soon.
No, and look, I was 2 wins away from being right. Everybody thought I was nuts when I picked the Denver Nuggets to go to the finals.
They were damn close, and you know what?
Yeah.
I definitely gotta tip my cap to you for coming close. Well done.
Yeah, well, they were 3 wins away. I just realized they lost.
Three wins, yeah.
They were 3 wins away. Yeah, look, they just ran out of juju, and they went off again. You know, they played the Lakers, and that was going to be tough. That was going to be very, very tough because when you're playing arguably the best player in the NBA and one of the top 5 players in the NBA on the same team, you know, it's going to be difficult. But you know.
Oh, and by the way, Denver was down 3-1 again. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, wait a minute. We've seen this song and dance twice now. Can they do it again? I said there's a chance. I wasn't sleeping on them. Yeah. But hey, the Lakers closed the deal. They're in the NBA Finals against the Heat, so I digress there.
So, you know, talking about the Lakers real quick, I mean, they're just, you know, it is what it is. I give no credit to Frank Vogel whatsoever because anybody could coach that team. And Luke Walton could have done just as good of a job, honestly.
That's true.
He could have done just as good of a job. That's the way I look at it. But, you know, look, I've said before that the NBA is a players-driven league now. We just saw it yesterday with Doc Rivers getting fired.
Oh.
You know, Doc Rivers is one of the most respected coaches in the NBA, and he got fired.
Yeah.
Why? Because Kawhi Leonard and Paul George didn't like him. So if Ty Lue or even Sam Cassell get hired as the head coach, it's because Kawhi Leonard and Paul George can boss him around.
Well, Ty Lue better get another coaching job because he absolutely deserves it.
No, he doesn't.
What?
He didn't. Who did he win the NBA Finals with? He won it with LeBron, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Love. It doesn't take a damn genius to figure that out.
Oh, my God.
Bro, they would have won the final with anybody. Okay? They would have won the NBA Finals with anybody. I'm so tired of people saying that Ty Lue is a good coach. What is he good at? He hasn't won he didn't win anything after that in 2016. He didn't win anything. He didn't win anything. And he's not going to win anything with this Clippers team because they think that they are so much better than they actually are. And reality is that when push came to shove, they got smacked in the mouth. They were one of the 2 teams that voted not to return. They didn't want to play right from the get-go. And I'm not going to – and if the Clippers were to go and win a title next year, I'm not giving any credit to Ty Lue because when you have stars on your team like that, come on, man. That's why I don't give Frank Vogel any credit. Like, honestly, why would I give him credit? If the Nets go and win an NBA championship next year, I'm not really going to give Steve Nash that much credit because he has KD and Kyrie. I mean, come on. That's the way I look at it. So we're not getting into that, but I don't personally think that Ty Lue deserves another head coaching job. He's not that good. He's not that good. Same thing with Steve Kerr. I don't think Steve Kerr is as good of a coach as people say he is because look at the freaking team that he has.
Anyway, though, we digress. Continue.
With the Miami Heat, what they have done such a great job of, and you got to give Pat Riley all the credit here, is that he built this team around the type of personality, the type of game that Jimmy Butler likes to play, which is hard, aggressive, going 100% all the time. And he has guys like that. Goran Dragic, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero. I mean, Duncan Robinson. He had Andre Iguodala, who, by the way, is entering his 6th consecutive final. People want to say, yeah, it's great that LeBron got his 10th final. That's incredible. Great job. But can we talk about the fact that Andre Iguodala is now in his 6th consecutive NBA final? 6th consecutive.
That's very impressive, yes.
And this is a guy who won 6th Man of the Year, I think, 1 year, and he also won Finals MVP.
Yep.
I mean, that's incredible. I mean, this guy, what a job by him. He was in Memphis, didn't even play a game in Memphis, got traded to Miami, and now he's actually playing very well. But I'm waiting for that Game 7 where Iguodala has to put up a layup and LeBron, for the 2nd time in the finals, goes and blocks his shot from out of nowhere. I'm waiting for that because that's going to happen. But the Miami Heat are a really, really blue-collar, hard-working team that's going to play physical from start to finish. They don't care. Oh, and by the way, another guy I forgot to mention, Crowder, who
Jay Crowder.
He could shoot threes. Now he shoots threes, which makes him that much more of a dominant player, and that makes the Heat even scarier. Eric Spoelstra, in my opinion, has actually proven that he's a good coach. We all wondered how he was going to do after LeBron and the D-Wade and Chris Bosh era. Now that he has this team, that's tremendous. Is Jimmy Butler a bona fide superstar? Is he one of the top 3 best players in the NBA? No, but he's still a great player who is starting to become my favorite player in the NBA because of how hard he works and how, really awesome this team plays. 100%. So they're going to be physical. Even if they can't match up size for size and talent for talent with the Lakers, they're gonna be physical. They're gonna frustrate the Lakers with their stout defense. They're gonna frustrate them, and that's why I have the Heat winning in 7. I have the Heat.
Okay.
I'm going with the Heat. I think that the Heat got it going. They don't have any juju going. They don't need mythical things. They just play hard-nosed defense. Who plays defense in the NBA anymore? Clearly, the Heat do. And if LeBron is not dominating, if LeBron and AD are not clicking, am I really going to put my trust in guys like Rajon Rondo, Kyle Kuzma, Danny Green, JaVale McGee? The only of the big men other than AD that I actually believe in that could do something is Dwight Howard. The first and only time he started a game, the dude balled out. And if Dwight Howard can win a championship, by the way, regardless of the fact he's on the Lakers, who wins championship? Hall of Famer.
Absolutely,
Hall of Famer.
Yes.
I think he's already in the Hall of Fame. Everybody wants to say, oh, he's all full of memes and all that, but no, he's a Hall of Famer in my opinion.
Absolutely.
So, but I'm going to go with the Heat. I think that, defense wins championships. LeBron lost the NBA Finals to the Spurs with Kawhi Leonard, who played freaking defense. Jimmy Butler is going to go up against LeBron. There's no way you could tell me that he's not going to be matched up against LeBron every single minute of every single game. And he's going to be physical. And you know what? The refs, they might let a lot of things go because of that physicality. But we'll see.
Maybe.
But I believe that the Heat can do it. I think if any team can do it right now, it's the Heat. They're not scared. They're not feared. They beat the Bucks where everybody thought that the Bucks were just going to, trounce the Heat. The Heat trounced them. They almost swept them.
Yep.
Kind of shows you once again that the Bucks are a bunch of fakers.
Didn't the Heat win in 5 games over the Bucks?
Won in 5. When everybody
5, yeah, that's right.
Lose in 5. I mean, look, the only series that the Heat had, were going to win, that everybody knew they were going to win, was the first round against Indiana.
Right.
Even in the conference finals, people like myself picked the Celtics. Okay, I picked the Celtics. I'm not going to lie here. I picked the Celtics. I was
all right.
So that's the way. So, am I going to go against the Heat this time? Nope. No, I'm not going to. And if I'm wrong, so what? It's the Lakers, and it's LeBron. But I'm telling you right now,
I was gonna. At least people won't be looking at you and feel like a complete idiot because it's the Lakers. They were expected to be here in the first place.
They didn't expect to be here, and dude, telling you, it's going to be a fun series.
It is.
Fun ass series.
Oh my god, I can't wait. I can't wait. So bottom line is, I've got the Lakers in 7. Neil has the Heat in 7. This is going to be a fun NBA Finals. And on that note, that'll wrap it up for this episode of the Bottom Line Podcast. If you have any thoughts on anything we discussed, and if you want to give us your prediction on who will win the NBA Finals, let us know on Twitter and Instagram at BottomLineWMCX, at the MVP Show on Twitter, #BottomLine, voice message on Anchor, the app, or Anchor.fm. And please leave a like, thumbs up there, and a comment down below. Helps out tremendously if you're watching on YouTube.
I mean, you
please
can leave a dislike. I think that's what you do.
Leave a thumbs down, whatever you want to, but just more importantly, leave a like and a comment down below. And please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode. And please subscribe on all audio listening platforms. Just include Jimmy when searching for this podcast. But Neil, you actually want to do self-plug a bit here before we sign off?
Yeah, I'm gonna start doing this now because I need.
No, please, by all means.
Yeah, like Jimmy mentioned, you can follow me on Twitter at THENVPSHOW and also on Instagram at NVPQB11. Please also like and subscribe to the Mofobo Network podcast, which is available on Anchor and Spotify. We're just like here on Bottom Line. We talk all things going on in the world of sports. I'm actually going to be recording another episode later on today, so you'll probably see that later on tonight. But go search Mofobo Network, because there's literally no other sports podcast in the freaking world that's named that. Not like Jimmy's. It's not like Bottom Line. It's Mofobo. It's easy. MOFOBO podcast. And you'll find it Anchor and Spotify. Also like and subscribe to the Mofobo Network Presents YouTube channel, where just like on the podcast, we have a specific topic we talk about going on in the world of sports. Last week, we talked about the legacy of Gale Sayers, who passed away about a week ago.
God rest his soul, yeah.
Right. We have another episode coming out. I think it's going to be an NBA Finals preview tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but we'll see. We shall see about that. But nonetheless, please go like and subscribe to that. New episodes for the podcast every Tuesday and Thursday, and new videos on YouTube every single Wednesday. Also, make sure to like and subscribe to the Devil's State of Mind podcast, which is the New Jersey Devils-based podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network. We just posted a new episode yesterday. We post new episodes of the podcast every single Monday. So make sure you subscribe to that. You can basically subscribe to that anywhere you listen to podcasts. So Spotify, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, iTunes, wherever. Just search Hockey Podcast Network or Devil's State of Mind and you'll find it. We have a Twitter for the podcast at Devil's State, an Instagram at Devil's State of Mind, and a Facebook page, Devil's State of Mind. And we also have a Facebook page for Mofobo Network as well. So just search Devil's State of Mind and Mofobo Network, and you can subscribe to both of those, and you can stay up to date with the new podcast episodes and new YouTube videos every single week. So please go check those out. And last but certainly not least, go check out my book on Amazon and also Barnes & Noble, JETS Pain, 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 which is about the pain and suffering of being a Jets fan. And the Jets are really, really giving fans some pain through the first 3 weeks, I think, to say the least. But please go check it out if you want some entertainment or if you just want to relive some painful memories. I know there's people out there that want to. So if you're a Jets fan, a football fan, if you know someone who's one of those, or if you just want to support me, please go check it out. It's for the price of $19.69. So, and if you're a Jets fan or a football fan, you probably know why I chose that price. So again, JETS Pain, Pain, Pain on Amazon or Barnes & Noble.
Well, I mean, we shouldn't talk. We're Giants fans, but we're not going to get into not going to get into the whole vitriol on them. But you get Neil's point. Go subscribe to everything he does and buy his book. It really would mean the world. I mean, please subscribe to us as well. It means the world, and we thank you again so much for all of your continued love and support. For Neil Villapiano, I'm Jimmy Finizzi. This is the Bottom Line Podcast. See you in the next episode. Peace out.